big news out of Cincinnati. According to Matthew Berry, NFL insider, fantasy guy, Tyler Boyd is not expected to return, and Joe Mixon should be released. So the Tyler Boyd piece was already expected. He's currently a free agent. He's been the 3 there for a long time. I think it's time. I really would see no way why they would want to re-sign him. He's paid his dues. Thank you for your service, Tyler Boyd. Joe Mixon is the interesting one here. Joe Mixon being cut, there's been rumors of this for the past 2 years, and I guess they're about to finally execute those rumors. The past 2 years, Joe Mixon's been interesting. Obviously, he's past his prime, which is crazy to say, but Joe Mixon was really good his first 2-3 years, but the past 2, he's been pretty inconsistent. Still scores touchdowns, but that's only because of the volume of it all, of him being a starter. And not only that, he's had many injury issues in the past, not playing a lot of games. So I guess this is finally it for Mixon with the Bengals. And I think another reason why they're making this move now is because the free agent pool of running backs is pretty crazy. And not only that, but the running back position is the most replaceable position offensively and skill-wise. So who knows? They might add a guy like Swift to throw out a random name, or Tony Pollard, or they'll just opt to go the cheap route and just draft a guy in like the 3rd round, like Blake Corum or some other guy you could get in the 3rd round, because the running back position is so devalued right now. If I were the Bengals, I would definitely try to draft a guy, just go as cheap as possible. Why not? I really think the Bengals need to invest heavily in their trenches, specifically their O-line. You really got to protect Joe Burrow. I mean, first year ACL, last year those 2 injuries, his calf and his elbow. So Joe Burrow is elite, and he has potential to really get a couple rings for the city of Cincinnati. And I just think you got to protect him at all costs. And all costs means you got to go cheap in other positions. So that's what I would do if I were the Bengals, because they still have to pay Jamar Chase a massive contract, and they still have to make a decision on T. Higgins. I feel like they'll most likely trade him, which I think it would be a good move. I would take a second for him right now. If some team offered me a second, I would take it, because to pay 2 receivers ridiculous money, like $120 million over 4 years with $46 million guaranteed. Like, you can't pay 2 receivers like that and then expect to have like a decent O-line and like have like a decent defense. It's just not necessary. So again, if I'm the Bengals, you gotta pay Jamar Chase, trade T. Higgins, and kind of go from there with that predicament. Bengals are definitely in an interesting place right now. I really feel like they're in those in-between type of years, between right there on the edge of competing and kind of being like fringe playoff team. Honestly, if Joe Burrow wasn't on the Bengals at all, or if he gets hurt again, this team is a bottom 5 team in the league easily. They're just not a ton on this roster. Speaking of the roster, there's this interesting article right now on Stripe Hype of 3 former Cincinnati Bengals potentially returning in 2024. One being CJ Uzomah. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he was a beast on the Bengals before he went to the Jets. He did nothing with the Jets, absolutely nothing. I have no idea why he didn't do a thing. I know he was there with Tyler Conklin, and I guess Tyler Conklin was the guy there. Head scratcher. I know. I don't get it, because All he's done there was caught a total of 29 passes for 290 yards and 3 touchdowns. Before that, with the Bengals, he's 5th in franchise history with 507 receptions, 6th in the receiving touchdowns with 37. So he put in work with Joe Burrow and the Bengals and just with the franchise as a whole. I think that'd be great. Why not bring him back? And he's going to be cheap as hell, too. So I'd do it. I'd definitely do it. Why not? Joe Burrow would love that. Another tight end is Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst has actually had some production outside of Cincinnati with the Falcons and a bit of the Panthers. Thing about Hayden Hurst is he had a major health issue that held him out for the majority of last year. But just recently, he's healthier than he's ever been, and he's cleared to go. Hayden Hurst started 13 games for the Bengals in 2022, caught 52 passes, 414 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Not bad, not bad. I mean, out of the two, I'd still rather go CJ, but who knows? Maybe CJ will have a big market. Hayden will be cheaper. Would be a good addition. Anything to help Joe Burrow out, I'm totally for. And the last one that could be reunited with the Bengals is La'el Collins. Most recently, he's signed with the Dallas Cowboys practice squad ahead of the playoffs last year, and he is currently a free agent. He's had an interesting ride. He started off pretty elite with the Cowboys, and then he came over to the Bengals. He started 15 games for them in 2022. He was good for them. I'm not entirely sure why they cut him. I know Collins got hurt, suffered an ACL injury. That's why they let him go. Quote, Coach Taylor was really disappointed that they had to part with him. So obviously there's still some love there. And I love this move the most just because it protects Joe Burrow, and that's the number one key thing for the Bengals moving forward, because you just need to do that. I just can't stress that enough. Joe Burrow being out, especially like last year, man, like that was not acceptable for the Bengals and the NFL. Joe Burrow's too talented for that, and they could beat the Chiefs. They've done it before. They could get some rings in Cincinnati. That'd be really cool to see. I've never seen that before. So I want to see it. So maybe Collins will come back. I hope he does. I hope the Bengals make the right moves with T. Higgins and salary cap. Let me know what y'all think, what the Bengals should do, where they should go, what I got for right now. Peace.
Nelson's in on the tackle.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense.
Grabbing the face mask. We see it almost once a week, and here it happens again.
Well, a lot of times these defenders, I'll give them a little slack because they're running so fast. They're trying to tackle some tremendous athletes in open space, and sometimes
Touchdown, San Diego. That's his first touchdown catch of the season.